anyway, we kind of knew this was a possibility.
Yeah.
And so, I think Girardi's got no choice but to send him.
Yeah, and Reggie Jackson had a pretty interesting comment and said that that's what baseball is. It hits you and it grabs you and it sits you a little bit and just wakes you up. So I think he just nailed it right there in terms of how things can go up. They all must come down.
Well, it's that way in every sport.
Yep.
And I think the guy sitting here beside us can attest to that. Doug Allison, the men's soccer coach here at Furman University. You know a little bit about the ups and downs of being an athlete and a coach. Things can be going your way, and then the rug can be pulled out from under you real quick, can't it?
Yeah, they can. Only as good as your last game, everyone says. But it happens always in a game, too. The ups and downs happen in a game as well. So we actually had a game like that on Friday night at Charleston, where it was our first home game and a huge crowd. And I told our guys to take the crowd out and play for territory in the first 10 minutes, and they scored after 2. So that was great coaching there and well listened to. But we came back and we tied it up, and then they went ahead late, and then we scored 2 goals late to win it. So ebbs and flows in a game too.
What, twice in the last 5 minutes, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, best time to score.
Well, we were talking about that yesterday. I was very happy to hear that, because as a coach, then you're understanding what we in the media like. Late game drama to help ratings, keep people. So on behalf of whoever was televising that, thank you.
You're more than welcome. I'm glad it came out the right way this time.
You'd rather win like 5-0 and go on from there, right?
Yeah, I tell you, but our guys said that they were happy they won the game like that too, because it showed they can come back from adversity and in a tough environment, away from home, in their tournament on their turf, and a huge crowd. And we took the whole thing at the very end. I'm really pleased for our guys. 3 different guys scored too.
And it was the first game of the season too. That's got to help the confidence kind of going forward from there to kind of jump off like that.
Yeah, well, I told you guys earlier, a week or so ago, about preseason, and that sometimes gives you a false indication because of who you're playing and what you're playing, and playing with so many different guys and the fitness. You're trying to squeeze so many things in such a small period, but now it's the real thing. And Charleston are very, very good. I mean, they had a good result against South Carolina the game before. So going in against them was tough. And then to back it up with a good win against Georgia Southern on Sunday to win the tournament was really nice. So happy with what they've done so far. But they really dug deep, because that wind was swirling on Sunday. We got some of the wind from Harvey or something, but it was about 35-mile winds coming off over the bridge there and stuff, and into right by the battleship there. So it was a tough environment, but the kids held on well.
Yeah, they played down in the same area where the baseball team plays. Patriots
same
Point,
complex,
right?
Same complex.
Yeah, right in there. So that you can get a little wind down there.
Yeah, it's swirling around. You're in a bit of a dust bowl there too, but it's really pleased with the guys. And we ended up having 4 different guys score goals on over the weekend and won the tournament. And I believe Kevin Edelman was the MVP of the whole thing, which is really nice. So that's a good start for our guys.
In any game, any sport, as you get going, is a game of adjustments. And you talked about falling behind inside the first 2 minutes of the season opener, and just talk about that, playing from behind for most of that game before rallying to a win. And the adjustments you have to make on the fly during a game like that. Well,
that's why soccer, more than just about any sport, is a lot of times, don't tell Mike this, but it's not really a coach's game on game day. I mean, I can make adjustments with substitutes or if there's an injury. But the way I played, I wanted to figure it out during a game. And I'd want my players to be the same way. So they need to be taught before they go in, because the ability to adjust is such an important thing for a soccer player. They have to, whether they go a man up or a man down or goal up or goal down, they've got to do it. There's no timeouts, so they have to be able to adjust. And it's a physical game. It's an invasion sport where you can hurt somebody else. It was very physical this weekend. We had a couple of guys get hurt, and actually Connor Sloan, when he scored the second goal, if you can see that, he comes in. He's about 5'0", and he comes in against a 6'5" goalie, and he heads the ball in and gets crushed.
Oh, man.
He almost got his head taken off, and he's running around celebrating before he realized he got blood all over his face. Then he sees it. Then I think he felt sick.
That's adrenaline right there, just kicking
He
in.
came up and said, "Coach, I'm like, "No, stay on."
Is that when he hit the ground and tried to get the yellow card? Did he
No,
flop
he
after
wasn't.
scoring the goal?
He's not Portuguese. No, he's not, or possibly Australian. Because last week when we were talking on the interview, David Prentice, one of our former players, and his dad, they saw the interview and stuff, and so you guys are going far and wide here, which is really nice.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's what we like. That's no boundaries on the internet, baby. We're worldwide, right?
Yeah.
This is Doug Allison. He's the men's soccer coach here at Furman. They've opened up 2-0. You say that was kind of an emotional win, obviously, to score 2 goals in the last 5 minutes. Then you come back. You tell me about the crowd, because you're playing Charleston on their home field in the first game. You said big crowd, lots of atmosphere. What was the atmosphere like against Georgia Southern in the Sunday game?
Oh, there was no one there,
Yeah.
so you have to go from a huge crowd to really our bus driver was cheering for us. And then
There you
there was
go.
about 3 or 4. No, we had some families down there, which is nice. And actually, it's funny because one of our former assistants, Jeff Delforn, is their assistant coach now. So he kind of knows our ways a little bit too. But so it was nice to get a victory over a former assistant, because they always are trying to beat the old man.
Absolutely. Yeah.
No, you got to play in different atmospheres, and that's why we're challenging them to go out to Denver and play in there. I mean, they just beat Akron last night. They're 2-0. They're top 4 or 5 in the country.
Yeah, and literally, we'll get to this in a moment, but literally in Denver, you're playing in a different atmosphere.
Yeah.
Elevation-wise.
Yep. And we're going to go out Thursday. Brandon Tucker, our assistant, is from there, and he was telling us a lot about that stuff. So we're training. And this morning we just trained and about staying compact and having to counterattack and being very compact and holding your breath and working together as a team before you break out and stuff. I don't know if it's going to work or not, Dan. You never know. And then we play Air Force at their place at noon on Sunday, which is very, very tough as well.
So Connor Hubbard scored a goal this past weekend, and he's from Greenville, and he went to your Furman Doug Allison Soccer Academy. How big is it for a player from that academy and from Greenville to kind of make an impact on the club?
Well, he's an Eastside High School boy, and my son goes to Eastside High School. So
beautiful.
And so we got a text from the coach, and it was great to see because Connor's worked so hard. I mean, he came in, we redshirted him his freshman year. A local boy, had a lot of choices where to go, and he's a big lad, great kid, one of the best citizens you'll ever meet. Comes in and has worked hard. And I credit Lewis Hall a lot for training him last year. I mean, one of our former seniors is now playing pros. They stayed after a lot, and Connor was soaking that up. And I think it's paying off. I mean, today in practice, he had a great practice too. So confidence is high. He's a big boy too, so he's got a big body. He'll put himself about. But to get that first college goal like that is he took it very well too. It was an accomplished strike too. So I was very happy for him. And a local boy doing good is great.
We continue to visit with Doug Allison, as we're going to try to do every week when his schedule allows, to talk Furman men's soccer. We'll do the same thing with Andrew Burr and the women's soccer program. Let's talk about this road trip that's coming up. Going west, going to play 2 games in Colorado, Friday at Denver, as you mentioned, and then Saturday at Air Force. And anytime you go to Colorado, we made the reference a moment ago, and you talked about it briefly, but playing in a different elevation is obviously going to be a challenge because, I mean, we see it all the time in football. Teams are going to play Denver. They're sucking on oxygen masks on the sidelines. And so do you go into a game like that in an elevation like that thinking you're going to have to substitute more than maybe you would in a normal game?
Well, I'm actually more worried about our coaching staff. I mean, I'm going to turn around and they're going to be having gas masks on. I mean, the oxygen tanks will be everywhere. I mean, I've been out there maybe once or twice, but Brandon's from there, which is good. Brett, I don't know. I think he's been out there a couple of times. I think they played out there once. Yeah, it's going to be tough, and I think they're unbeaten in 39 home games or something like that. So they're a very, very good side. They were in the Final Four last year, lost to Wake Forest in the semifinals. So they're a very disciplined side. Got a good coach. I mean, a really, really good team. So it's going to be a good test. I mean, we want to test our guys. That's why good recruits come here. They actually say that we play against very good competition. Wake Forest in preseason, who are number 2. I mean, obviously Denver now, and I mean a lot of very, very tough teams on our schedule. Good players who want to play against good teams. You never know what the outcome's going to be, but you can't know. I mean, you can't ever do that unless you're facing a team and see what they're really like, see what the top teams are like, and hopefully you get a result. And we've been known to get results. Last year we beat FIU and Kentucky, and we always put ourselves up against some big schools. And I don't mind doing that. It's okay. It's one game, and it's not going to make or break your season.
Right.
But it does give you this experience of, we went up against those guys, and this is what we did. And win or lose, it's going to hopefully stand us in good stead for the conference.
Did you always, or have you always had that scheduling philosophy, or has it grown?
No, I
over
love
the
playing.
years?
You see our schedule from day one. We're playing everyone.
Yeah.
And everyone will come and play us. And I always want to make sure that we're not just playing them. They want to come back and play here at the graveyard as well. Well, our graveyard, Stone Stadium, which we call our graveyard. But I mean, it's. I like having those teams on campus. I like our guys to play those teams. I get up for those games too. I mean, it's one of those things where, it's very rarely do you see those names come in here. I mean, just seeing Wake Forest and brought Mike Buddy out to his old place as well, and seeing those guys. It's I mean, typically we're fortunate to have guys drafted every year, but I want to challenge our kids against those kids. I mean, and I definitely want good student athletes. Don't get me wrong, but challenging ourselves against good competition all the time, all our alumni will be happy. I mean, they like that too.
What kind of plans outside of soccer do you have for being in the Colorado area? Do you have any site visits or anything like that?
Well, Chuck Meisel's out there, who's one of our big alumni, and actually he wants to meet with all our business majors while he's out there because he's got some job opportunities while we're out there. Brandon said there's a couple of places to visit on Saturday. I mean, just being around the atmosphere, and it was funny because a lot of our guys on the Saturday off in between the Charleston game, we took them to down to Shim Creek to have a little food. A lot of them have never been down to the marshes or that area.
Oh, wow.
It's such a beautiful area. All our Kansas boys had never seen that, never seen dolphins and that kind of stuff. I'm like, just because I've seen it. But I like to take our guys for those kind of cultural experiences. And it was great just to watch our guys walk around looking over, hoping they see a dolphin or something come up. And because you don't realize, I mean, last 2 years ago, we took the team to Spain. And we took them to Barcelona and Madrid. And Grant Allard, who used to be with me, and we planned this thing out for months. And, to see Messi and see Ronaldo and actually see them play on their turf was great. But one thing I didn't realize was as we were taking the train from Barcelona to Madrid, we almost missed the train because our guys were taking pictures of the train. I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, we've never ridden on a train before. So
just little things.
Yeah, no doubt.
You don't think about it. And I'm like, yeah, but get on the train. You take a picture from inside as well. But we actually we have a train to catch.
Let's have that experience,
So, I mean, I grew up in British Rail, or I mean, the London buses were the worst ones because you say London buses, there's nothing for 10 minutes and 3 at once. That's what London buses always come. But the public transportation system was what you did, what you took. No one had cars to drive around all the time. But I took trains every week. And so it kind of went right past me that these guys have never been on particularly one of those high-speed trains.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was pretty cool to see them on the train and pressing buttons and just taking pictures. And like, this is pretty nice.
That's good stuff. Yeah.
Do all this planning, all these major soccer stars you want them to see, and they're captivated by a train.
Doing something right.
So what's the travel schedule?
Well, we'll practice again tomorrow. Classes, we'll leave early Thursday morning. Get on a flight to Atlanta, and then Atlanta to Denver, and then back on Sunday. I believe it's Labor Day Monday, so probably a little break. But yeah, they'll have their study and have their books on the plane. They'll definitely be studying. So.
And then when you get back, or from Sunday anyway, a 9-day break between games before you finally have the home open. You finally get Andrew's team out of there, so you guys can play a little bit at home, and it's against UNC Asheville on the 12th. Yep.
So it's be nice to open up at home. We've got several big home events around our home games, which is really nice. So we'll get back into that with you guys every week when it comes on. So our guys are looking forward to actually playing in the stadium too, but they've got to earn it as well.
All right, sounds good. We will let you get back to it. Look forward to talking to you next week after the trip to Colorado and what we expect to be 2 more wins. No more pressure now. No pressure.
That's right.
But 2 more wins. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
That's Doug Allison.
Coach.
Thank you.
I got to talk to you during the break. We will step aside and come back. Bob Ritchie and his new director of ops, Robbie Bostain, joining us on the other side. This is the Dan Scott Show, and we will return in just a moment.
You never know what you're going to do.
Dan Scott here to tell you that I have found my